Got my Phil's coffee. Put my hat on. Alright, let's start this. So it's more than obvious that Kanye West has had a tremendous amount of influence in which the way men have dressed in streetwear from the early 2000s all the way up until present day. Heck, he might even be the originator in a lot of this stuff. But in today's video, I'm gonna go through as many styles and trends that he went through from the early 2000s till now that I can remember off the top of my head. So I'm gonna skip some, so fill me in the comments. It's your boy Keezy. It ain't easy being Keezy. Let's get it. So it's a little hard to know where to start because I'm making this video in my own perspective, right, of what I had been affiliated with from Kanye West all this time. But if we were to start, I believe the early to mid 2000s, Kanye came in and started dressing pretty preppy, right? And he started to wear like the pink polos and collared shirts. And just keep in mind, mid 2000s, this was a time period where most rappers, everybody was wearing baggy clothes. It just got baggier and baggier and baggier. And he kind of went the other direction and started wearing things that were a little bit more fitting to the body, so to speak. In combination of him also wearing a lot of preppy clothes and kind of standing out in that way with the pink polo and what have you, then he started to link up with people like Nigo, and he wore a lot of BAPE. And if you ask me, this is the era that I miss the most. It really, like, of BAPE and Kanye, it's like the golden years of streetwear. It was kind of this time period where we didn't really know what to expect. It was just really cool. We didn't even know, people probably didn't even know what a hypebeast was, but evidently we were the people that were birthing the term hypebeast at the time. While we move into 2007, there was a couple other things that he ended up wearing that a lot of people caught on to and copied him, right? And one of them was the skeleton hoodie. The skeleton hoodie that was made by LRG. Rest in peace to Jonas Bavakwa, by the way. And one other thing about the full zip skeleton hoodie was that style got so well known because of BAPE, right? BAPE brought in the full zips, then LRG did it, and LRG fed a market that BAPE couldn't. Right, because BAPE was so exclusive, it didn't have an online website. You couldn't buy BAPE in the US unless it was from like select sellers on eBay. But way back, it would just be very rare to find actual BAPE, so people would copy the idea of just doing the full zip because you can't patent that, right? So there was a bunch of just different hoodies that would have full zip, and the LRG one really hit home, and it just spread across all high schools in America. So as we move from 2007, and I believe from 2008, going up to 2009, Kanye performed in his Pastel jacket. And just this look entirely that I'm showing you right here, this was just a vibe. Like this was Kanye for the time being, right? And Pastel, for those who don't know, was the brand before Yeezy came about, if I'm not mistaken, right? It was supposed to be called Pastel. I don't know what the specifics was, but he was, I believe, the creator of it. And it just never kind of came to fruition. He only wore a couple jackets and stuff. Also, another noteworthy part to this fit, of this performance fit, that people actually bought into was the skunk tail. Is it like a skunk tail or a raccoon tail? And you would hook it on the side of your pants. Yeah, I had one. Yeah, I had one. I'm just leave it at that. I had one. You know, I might still have it. I don't know where it's at. I might still have it. And I also think that this might have been the same time, 2007, 2008, I think, that he wore the shutter shades. After Kanye wore those shutter shades, it became so popular, you would see it in like almost every gas station. Like every common gas station had a pair of shutter shades. I think that's where I bought mine. Either that, I don't think I bought it on the internet. It was somewhere at the mall or something. It was everywhere. A lot of people had them on, especially in the Bay. People were wearing stunner shades, big old stunner shades, you know what I mean? Popping the lenses out and shit. But when the shutter shades came out, I had a pair. I probably still got them somewhere. I don't know where they are. But it wasn't only this photo, and also, of course, him performing and wearing certain types of garments, but it was also this photo right here of him wearing the YSL t-shirt. For me, anyway, I don't know if this was kind of more on a nationwide scale for a lot of people, but this was the first time that I was seeing rappers wear designer brands like this. I mean, rappers have always kind of like worn, it was more so street brands because I would listen to like street rap. But if I think about Kanye, he really kind of blended a little bit in the beginning, especially in the 2008 time period, moving into 2009. He would blend like high-end designer brand names into that street casual style. And those YSL t-shirts got, man, holy crap, those things were replicated like you can't even imagine. It was the same way people replicate the Supreme BOGO, but back then it was the YSL t-shirt being replicated all over eBay, right? You could buy it for like 15 bucks. So as we come to a close with 2008, I think in sometime in December, and then in the early 2009 year is when 808's A Heartbreak dropped. 808's A Heartbreak was, oh man, it was like a monumental album, because here comes this person that can rap, produce beats, and now he's kind of moving on to more melodic sounds, using a lot of the auto-tunes, and just going completely left field to what you'd expect Kanye to sound like. And I don't think that this time period of 808's was streetwear. He started kind of transitioning and wearing a ton of suits, a lot of blazers, a lot of bow ties, right? Because it was more dress up. A lot of these photos that I'm showing you here, again, it's just a ton of suits. One thing though that was memorable of this time period was the way he cut his hair. He would like get a normal fade, but on the back he would leave like a little, you can't call it a pat. I don't know, what is the name of this haircut? Somebody help me out. I was trying to look it up online. I'm like, is there a name to this? I call it the Kanye haircut, I guess. I'm sure he might not be the first person to do it, but on a mass scale and someone with that much influence, he might be the first person to kind of put it out there for everybody. And this was copied. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I had a couple friends that did this, more than a couple, and in school I had seen people, leave in the back, what it is, right? So as we move on, don't quote me now, because I don't know the exact year as to when Kanye started with Nike, but I believe it was like 2009, 2010 that he did the deal with Louis Vuitton, and then he made the LV Dons, right? The all red LV Dons. And just looking back at these times of 2010, maybe even 2011, we saw a lot of Kanye performing in a lot of red color. He would wear all red. It would either be like a white or black shirt, red blazer, red skinnies, red LV Dons on the bottom. I think what kind of happened here after he performed in a lot of the stuff, and then he was kind of wearing it on a more of a casual basis, not the all red, but just an all one color look. That look ended up becoming a look for a lot of guys, right? And even for myself, it was kind of imitated. It was like, oh, it actually does look nice to wear all one color and kind of match in that way. Hopefully I'm getting these dates right here, because again, this is off the top of the dome here. Either end of 2010, beginning of 2011. Kanye was still dating Amber Rose at the time. I'm pretty sure those were Tumblr days, but I just remember seeing this photo and I'm like, man, like this photo motivated me to really kind of keep wearing my cement threes. I mean, I think I had one pair. I don't think I had this colorway specifically, but like I definitely had a pair of threes though. So talking a little bit more about Kanye and Jordans and how many people kind of replicated his same style in which the way he wore his Jordans. 2011 was kind of a pivotal year. For the time period, the outfit of choice was either J's, if you could afford the Louis Vuitton Dons, or those other black LV, Kanye West sneakers, with some black leather pants and a Givenchy Rottweiler t-shirt. I don't know where he was, but there's so many photos of Kanye being snapped in this outfit. I think it might have been maybe a fashion runway show or something like that. And he wore the t-shirt, the shit just went crazy, you know what I'm saying? There was a lot of replicas being made of the Rottweiler tee, and people were really putting them fits together. And again, it was still that same one color type outfit, almost like black shoe with like one or two colors on it, then black pants, black shirt, black jacket, maybe even black shades to go with it. This is kind of, this is swag boy era, that's for damn sure. But since we're on 2011, one of the most pivotal things with Kanye and Jordans is when he wore the breads. He wore the breads, I believe it was to London Fashion Week, and also this is the same year that he was being spotted wearing the infrared 6s. I think, don't quote me, you can correct me in the comments if you'd like on any of the things I'm saying here today, because this is off the top of the head. But yes, man, when he wore them in 2011, 2012, maybe even moving into 2013, I think, even for me, I was kind of, just personally in my own stories, that I was kind of drifting away from clothing during that time. I just kind of was disinterested, didn't necessarily have enough money to buy into it, right? Wasn't motivated. But I did need things to wear that would, how do I say, I could wear on a day-to-day. And I would see Kanye's pictures on Google Images, and I needed some kind of like fit inspo, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go on Google Images and search like people I'm listening to right now. Kanye, of course. I searched it, and I'm like, oh, he's got an all-black outfit on with some breads. It's easy, right? It's like, I mean, the most expensive thing is your shoes, and the rest is simple because it's just an all-black outfit. And I wore that for years because it was just an easy thing to do. And even to this day, an all-black outfit with some breads, I mean, you can't go wrong with that, man. So by 2012 was the famous Sway interview. Do I even need to play it for you? I mean, who hasn't seen this interview? I don't think I need to play it for you, but I'll play it for you anyway.
Or do you want to marginalize me till I'm out of my moment?
Or why don't you empower yourself and don't need them and do it yourself?
How, Sway?
Take a few steps back to go.
You ain't got the answers, man.
If you are or were any sort of fan of Kanye, there's no way you didn't remember this interview and the time period, okay? Because this was the time when, right when people really thought Kanye was nuts. I mean, you know, to a certain degree, he's kind of crazy, but I guess geniuses are crazy, right? And I know this video is centered around Kanye and his fits. I just had to put that in there. This has nothing to do with his clothing. I mean, it has to do with clothing, but not necessarily what he has on. Anyways, let's move on to 2013. So the following year of 2012, I don't recall personally, you know, clothing-wise, what was, I guess, monumental or trending after he wore it. But what you can remember, though, is the diamond mask. Now, I'm not going to tell you people walked around with diamond mask on. A Margiela, was it Margiela? Pretty sure it was like a Margiela diamond mask, or I don't know who designed it, right? Or I don't know who made it. But the fact is that he wore it, and it's just a mask of diamonds around his whole face. But again, you know, people didn't wear it. I mean, you'd have to be as rich as him to buy a Margiela diamond mask, if anything. So I don't necessarily know, you know, what was going on with Kanye during the 2014 era. But if we talk about 2015, holy shit, there was a lot of things that happened. A lot of things happened in 2015 and 2016. So in this year, Kanye had already been in conflict with Nike, probably ended that contract by that time, and already had been clicked up with Adidas. I think it was like the verge of clicking up with Adidas. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Now, what I do remember though is that these type of fits right here, it was just that whole fog aesthetic, the fear of God thing coming in, and Kanye may or may not have already linked up with Jerry, and it was like the oversized baggy look, but having the skinny jeans to go with it. And if we're talking about this photo right here, the Vetements hoodie, just look at the silhouette of what you're looking at here. This spoke 2015 in 2016 like you wouldn't even imagine. So why I mentioned that 2015 was a pivotal year for just fashion in general and the association to Kanye West is that he held his fashion show for the Yeezy line. And all I can remember during this time is that everybody talked mad shit about the line. I mean, there was barely anybody that was complimenting it. Whether the people were into fashion, not into fashion, streetwear heads like myself or whatever, were looking at it like, I don't really understand this right now. Lo and behold, this fashion show ended up influencing so many different things later on down the line. I'm not even gonna get into it, but it was kind of ahead of its time if you ask me. And it was either right before and or after the fashion show, this photo just took over streetwear. God damn, like everybody dressed like this. Okay, Supreme tee. I'm not saying he is the one that made Supreme famous, that's not what I'm saying, but just this look, this became like the SneakerCon starter pack look. It was like flannel, right? It was like the YouTuber starter pack look too, right? It was the flannel, the Supreme box logo tee, skinny denim sort of, right? And Yeezys on, or what have you. Not to shed too much light on this photo right here and how influential, you know, these types of looks were, I would say by 2016, it was Yeezy Season 3, Madison Square Garden, and in combination of the Pablo merch. Oh my god, Pablo merch, box logos, Pablo merch, Yeezy 350s, and ripped denim is 2016, man. And I mean, there was a lot of people that were replicating the Pablo merch too, especially that camo jacket that was literally just a utility store, Rothco utility jackets that they would put Pablo on the back. Shit was everywhere. Shit. It was just flooded. It flooded Instagram, flooded the internet. God damn, boy, it was everywhere. And somewhere in between, I'm pretty sure, he wore Chelsea boots. It was either to an award show, something like that. Now, I'm not saying he's the person that made people wear Chelsea boots. He probably played a role in it though, when it comes to influence, because he wore it and he's like really famous. Like, he's one of the most famous people in the world. I don't wear Chelsea boots, so y'all can correct me in the comments. Maybe you know who that person is that really, you know, set the mark for Chelsea boots. But I just remember him wearing them, and then other people started wearing them, and I'm like, okay, I mean, the irony and timing here, it's pretty close. So of course, speaking from my own perspective, Yeezys in general, as far as I remember, right, before 2016, were just the most impossible things to get, right? The turtle doves were like $1,000. I don't know how much they are now. Maybe they went down in price. Who knows? Because there's so many 350s out, you know, that are out today. But prior to that, like, you know, the zebras even went up to like $1,000. And obviously Kanye didn't like that. And that's why he clicked up with working with Adidas. And he wanted to make and mass produce these things so the price is not so crazy. He wanted everybody to wear Yeezys. And that's exactly what happened. Like, I'm pretty sure by 2017 moving into 2018, Yeezys were pretty much everywhere. And a lot of people, especially my own friends, or even myself, getting my first pair of Yeezys, it really felt as if like, man, like, I never thought I would own a pair of Yeezys because of how like expensive people resell this stuff for. So as we revert the conversation back to Kanye and some of the fits that he was wearing and the images that a lot of people started copying, I believe when the Wave Runners dropped, I'm pretty sure that was kind of mid 2017, I think, somewhere around there. And Kanye started to dress like this. These images that I'm showing you here. It's like sweatpants, rolling up the sweatpants, long socks, Yeezy 700s, like dad shoes, and that's when dad shoes was kicking. Dad shoes was going stupid. That was like the emergence, right? The Wave Runner, if I'm not mistaken, was the first sneaker to come out as a bulky silhouette like that, and everyone just kind of followed in its footsteps. And what I also can remember for sure was that when the Wave Runners dropped and the way that Kanye was dressing, even streetwear heads like myself was kind of looking at it like, well, what exactly do you got going on right here? Lo and behold, people copied him anyway. It became a thing on Instagram. Instagram influencers would copy the same exact idea, wearing the 700s, wearing the sweats that are rolled up, high socks, right? Puff your jacket or something like that. Dad hat to go with it. It was very influential for the time. So since this video is about Kanye and his fits and some of the photos that have emerged on the internet that a lot of people have copied, 2018 is a tough time period to talk about because it was a political time period. 2018 is when Kanye put the MAGA hat on. And I'm not saying people copied putting the MAGA hat on, but it felt as if everybody was turning against him. It was like the time when Nike did some foul shit and everyone wanted to burn Nikes was the same energy people had towards Kanye when he put the MAGA hat on. It's like, I'm gonna burn and I'm gonna sell all my Yeezys. or something, right? I mean, even though he wore the MAGA hat, people still gravitated toward Kanye no matter what. It was kind of like, we don't like your political views, but we're still waiting for your album. And after all the political weirdness dying down, he started to wear outfits like this. And as a consumer, I mean, I'm not gonna say I copied this. Trust me, you know, subconsciously, I have copied Kanye in many ways over the years. I mean, who hasn't? I mean, people that can't admit that they have probably have. okay, have copied something that Kanye has done in the way in which Kanye ends up wearing his clothes, right? Or wearing his sneakers, whatever. But this photo is where I'm like, all right, you lost me. You lost me. I don't think I can wear something like that and or even make it look like that. And I don't know how to explain this, but it's a lot of logo-less clothing at this point. Extremely boxy tailoring. Either wearing sweats or some kind of cargo pants that are just really big, just huge, just very wide cargo pants. Wearing boots at that point. And 2018, 2019 is where it gets really blurry for me because I kind of just stopped tuning in, right? I think by end of 2018, so I personally sold all my Yeezys. I wasn't really into Yeezys anymore at that point. I started collecting other things like BAPE and stuff that I really genuinely liked from years ago. So the way I look at it, and again, this is personal perspective, this is my channel, this is how I'm going to explain it. 2018, 19 into 2020, all I can see from outside looking in, just kind of looking over the fence at what's going on with Yeezy, since I haven't been buying into it, is that a lot of it, just the marketing of it just seems to be centered around the Sunday service, right? Sunday service, very godly, and like, you know, very logo-less type designs, extreme boxy tailoring like I just explained, and of course the crazy amount of releases coming from Yeezy. It is like unreal how many Yeezy sneakers. The amount of releases of Yeezy sneakers has to be equivalent to the amount of Jordan sneakers that are coming out, GR and non-GR. Right? There's just so many styles. I mean, how many different Yeezy 350s have dropped in the past like 2 years? It is nuts. In fact, he just released some like photo that he wasn't supposed to release about the whole rollout for 2020 of how many Yeezys are going to be coming out. Or is there some $1 billion rollout or whatever? That just explains to you how much is going on with Yeezy, the brand, with Adidas in 2020. Okay, so I will kind of close off with this. I can't go through everything. All right, I tried. I think if I do go through everything, this video would be like an hour and a half long. But again, this was on the basis of what I have liked over the years, and also just kind of what I've taken notes on over the years as well. But I will say this, even though I'm not wearing Yeezys right now, I'm not necessarily as like tuned in to what Yeezy's doing at the moment. That's not to say that I don't like what Yeezy's doing, right? I think sometimes people think that, oh, just because you don't wear it, you sold it all, like you don't like it. Nah, man, I still like the brand. With the amount of sneakers that he's rolling out in this next year or two, just imagine what happens in 5 or 6 years. I'm sure there's gonna be like 1 or 2 sneakers in there that I'm feeling myself that I wouldn't mind, you know, buying into. So with that said, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys and girls keep it locked from clothing, music to culture. It is your boy Keezy, and I'll see you next time. Peace.